Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Today we're talking Starfield. And for any new subscribers or anyone tuning in now, just wanted to say thank you. We're a small channel over here, so every sub, every like, every comment, really appreciated. And stoked about every single one. And I replied to every single one, whether it's agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. I try to always be respectful, and I will respond to any comment you put in the comment section. So thanks again. Topic of the day. Will Starfield get a third DLC? Poster says, do you think they will release a third DLC for Starfield or move on to the Elder Scrolls 6? It's a great question, and it makes me kind of open my eyes that not everybody's ingrained in the Bethesda ecosystem the way that I am, and as big of like a fan of Bethesda games as I am, and just understands everything that's going on the way I do. Because I've just, like, ever since I played Fallout 4 was my first exposure to Bethesda games, I just fell in love. I played the heck out of Fallout 4. I loved Fallout 4. And then I learned that Skyrim was made by the same developer, and it's a similar type of game. And then you can probably guess how much I love Skyrim. I think it's one of my top 5 games of all time. I love Skyrim. And I've played a lot of games, guys. I've probably played 500 games over the last 25 years. I've been gaming for a minute, and Skyrim is in my top. And then Starfield launched, and I have about 1,000 hours in Starfield. I really enjoy Starfield as well. So the reality is, though, in that time, I kind of started to pay more attention to Bethesda because I was like, these guys seem to make things I really like. And I want to know more about this studio. So I started to get more in the weeds about the studio and follow them more closely and pay more attention to the things they're doing. And I think with that, I can answer this question a little bit for you. So I would start with this because these are the known facts. First of all, Elder Scrolls 6 has been in full development since the fall of 2023. So they had a planning period up until then, but full production, the majority of the developers at Bethesda shifted away from Starfield, which had been their 5-year project before that, and moved to Elder Scrolls 6 in the fall of 2023. Elder Scrolls 6 is in a playable state and has been now for over a year. This is a known fact. They continue to work on Elder Scrolls 6. We don't know how much longer they'll continue to work on Elder Scrolls 6, but we do know that it's been their main focus at Bethesda for almost 3 years. They also have a smaller team working on Starfield. They have a smaller team working on Fallout 4, and rumor has it they hired a bunch of people and have a whole team working on Fallout 5 as well. But that's more skepticism and that's more rumors, so we'll stay away from that. But let's focus then on the 2 pieces of information I gave you. So there's a small team that works on Starfield still, and that small team's actually what delivered Terran Armada and Free Lanes. And there is a much larger team at Bethesda that's been working on Elder Scrolls 6 since 2023. So if you're worried about Elder Scrolls 6 taking away from Starfield, I wouldn't. Because the reality is, the bulk majority of the developers at Bethesda haven't been working on Starfield for quite some time. They're working on the new project known as Elder Scrolls 6. As far as whether they'll keep giving us DLCs for Starfield, I think there's 2 things to consider here. One is that they have a small team already devoted to doing this. They've already been doing this. Todd Howard and the Bethesda team have already confirmed they'd like to continue giving updates to Starfield. They launched it on PlayStation recently. It did pretty well on PlayStation. The reception of the game seems to be turning around now, which it should, honestly, because I think Free Lanes and Terran Armada was a great step in the right direction, and I think the player base for PlayStation has been overwhelmingly positive, despite them having a less-than-ideal experience at times. Like, I think they're a little more bug-ridden than they should have been at this point. It would have been nice if they get a more polished experience out the gate, but I know Bethesda's working on that for them, and I see a lot of fans from the PlayStation base playing the game right now. So when it comes to future updates, I'm pretty confident we're going to get at least one more Starfield update, if not many. And the reason for this, and I want to go back to this, is it's really important, because I hear this question a lot too. Will there be a Starfield 2? When will we get a Starfield 2? There has been a big change in gaming that I want you guys to pay some attention to, because I surely have been, is there's no need to release a new game every 2 to 3 years like there used to be. When I was growing up through like the early 2000s, there was so much advancement in technology at that point that you were getting leaps. You were going from Super Nintendo to N64 to GameCube, right? Like you were going from Dreamcast to, and I know this isn't perfect, to Xbox 360. Like if you look at those games and the graphic fidelity of those games versus the generation before them, like it was incredible the rate we were moving at and the rate technology was increasing, and each game was becoming like the newest, latest, greatest, best thing you'd ever played before. And I think honestly that's like why there's a little bit of this stagnation in the market right now, is because we're no longer getting like the best game we've ever played. We're no longer getting like the biggest game we've ever played or the most beautiful game we've ever played. Games nowadays have to stand truly on just being good, and they can't stand on wowing you with graphics or worlds like you've never seen, because the tech just doesn't improve that much. I mean, Skyrim, for example, still holds up as like a pretty big world with pretty nice graphics with some of the updates, and it's old. It's 15 years old. So the point of this is that I feel like Bethesda and a lot of people now are making the game that will be the game that they add additions to for the next 10 plus years. And Bethesda's even said this with Starfield. They said, Starfield, we've built a platform, and that platform will be something we add additions to and support for the next 10 years. There's no point in making a Starfield 2. The technology doesn't exist to make it much better. They can continue to improve on the one they have, surely, and they should, but there's no point in having a second one. And I think where Bethesda runs into issues is with Fallout and Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, whatever, they're super dated. But if they give us an Elder Scrolls 6, then I wouldn't expect a 7 for a really, really long time. Because I think once you give us the platform for 6 that's modernized and on Creation Engine 3, there'll be no reason but to just continue to support that one for the next 10 to 15 years. You can add quests into that. You can add stories. You can add mechanics. You can add whatever you want right in that game. There's no point of making a 7. It's not like it was before where you needed a new one every 2 years because you were making these huge graphical leaps and technology leaps. And the same with Fallout 5. Like once we get a Fallout 5, I would expect that'll be our Fallout for the next 10, 15 years. I mean, shit, that's what's happening with Skyrim and Fallout 4 now, and they're super dated, and we're still adding creations, still adding mods, still overall supporting these games to this day. So just to wrap this up, and I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section, but for me, there will absolutely be another Starfield DLC, at least one. You know, I think they still owe us like a wrap up on the Starborn storyline, for example. I think based on how many players stay on the game and the reception over time will determine whether we get DLCs 4, 5, and 6. But I'd be really surprised if they don't do at least one more DLC for Starfield within the next year or two. And then I think beyond that, the community will support it. And then it may be one of those weird things like CD Projekt Red did with Witcher, where we get a update for Witcher 3 like 10 years later. So I would expect it. I would say, if I had to guess, we are getting at least one more DLC for Starfield. But like I said, we'd love to know what you think in the comment section. If you found this video interesting, consider subscribing. We talk about Bethesda, Starfield, Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls, a lot here. And if you look at my channel and go, it looks like it's all Starfield right now. Well, that's because Starfield's my favorite at the moment. It's the latest and greatest at the moment. But as Elder Scrolls 6 creeps closer, we have more news, we have more things to talk about, and the game launches, I promise you we'll be talking about that too. And the same with Fallout. I said from the beginning, I originated with Fallout, right? Fallout's where I began my Bethesda journey. And Fallout has a really special place in my heart as well. So, you know, when new Fallout stuff drops, like that remaster, hopefully, and things like that, we'll be playing it, we'll be talking about it, and I'd love to have you guys along for the ride. So trying to create a cool community here, that's my goal. Have a community of like-minded fans to talk to, collaborate with, and just talk about the games we love. So if you're into that kind of thing, consider subscribing. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for the watch. Have a great day.